Oh well, it doesn't matter anyways. I just did a whole entire video in my. Somebody showed up for something, but it doesn't matter because the video was going in the wrong direction anyways. So today I want to start the beginning of kind of like a little mini series, um, talking about the 4 phases of a woman's cycle. I'm gonna back up a little bit too close to you guys. And I'm gonna talk about the one that I'm in right now currently, and it's actually the top of the cycles. I want to talk about the menstrual phase. There is obviously every woman knows that there's 4 phases of her cycle. There's the menstrual phase, your follicle phase, your ovulatory phase, and your luteal phase. And if you didn't know that, there is. So the first phase that we're going to talk about is our menstrual phase, which obviously is your bleed phase. Now, scientists have proved, and not proved, but they've actually discussed and talked about how ironic it is that with each cycle, there is a seasonal differential, I can't think of the word, with each of these cycles. So with menstrual, they call it winter. Follicle, they call spring. Ovulatory, they call summer. And with luteal, they call fall. So during your menstrual phase, the winter phase, you usually feel very low energy. You have low energy because you're losing water, you're losing blood, your nutrients are starting to deplete, everything that you've been putting inside of you is starting to go away, and you kind of have to constantly, you're refilling all this. Your iron levels are extremely low, your protein levels are really low, you just don't have it in you. Today is the first day of my bleed cycle, and usually on the first day, all of a sudden, the morning of, I'll be extremely emotional. Like my hormones will go to a peak, and I just start to feel very sad. I cry. If there's anything going on in my life that's personal, my literal PMS will make it 50,000 times worse. It will just accentuate the whole entire situation. It makes it way worse. It exaggerates your emotions. And that's kind of what happened this morning. I had a huge cry fest in front of my counselor and stuff like that. But then usually my period will start right after that. I end up in the beginning, I feel very hyper. I usually am just very want to get it done. And I also start to feel more calmer and more clear-headed. Things start to kind of slow down. I don't feel, the best way I can describe it is like this, and this is why they call it the winter phase. It's kind of like when it's snowing and it's that quiet snow that's coming down. It's very peaceful and very quiet and very calm. That's what it feels like. It feels like everything's very still and quiet, and you finally can catch your thoughts, and that's what it feels like. I'm in that phase right now. Everything's just very quiet, and I'm starting to hear things, and I can actually concentrate. I'm not hearing things like I'm losing it. I can actually catch my thoughts, and I'm able to concentrate better and kind of go through my emotions a little bit better. Now, the first day, usually you're not going to feel complete. You're not going to be like, oh, I'm just great and everything's... No, that's not how it works. Your hormones are trying to go back to normal during your menstrual phase. They have a lot to catch up on. Now, with me, I have a very long luteal phase. My luteal phase lasts anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks. It will literally drag on and on and on. And in that time, my hormones are going off the radar. They're all over the place. So once I do hit my menstrual phase has a lot of work to do. My body has a lot of work to do to get all these hormones to interlock and go back to the way they used to be, so we can start over on a fresh cycle. It's hard. It really is. It's very hard on your mind. It's hard on your body. Your body and your mind are just they can't correlate for a while. So that's where the food stuff starts to come in. Now, during my menstrual phase, I'm not as hungry as I am during my luteal phase. In my menstrual phase, my diet is still there. I'm still eating and I'm still hungry. Not as hungry. But most of the food that I want to eat is comfort foods. I want to eat things that, and I have a huge, and this is why, is because you're losing protein, iron, you're losing these things. My body will start to crave meat. Usually around the second day, that's usually when it hits. I'll start to want to get things like steak and hearty meals, like steak and potatoes, or steak and shrimp and like all these other things and salmon, and I want to eat like all these very heavy meals. And it's normal because that's what your body's trying to do. Your body is craving this attention, and it's craving these foods because it's missing these nutrients. It's missing the iron, it's missing the protein, and it's trying to puzzle piece. It's trying to puzzle piece and put all this stuff back together. I thought I just saw somebody that I know. I think I do know her. It's trying to puzzle piece and put all this stuff back together to build you up. The other thing during your menstrual phase is that, like I said, in the beginning, you're not going to be completely put together. You're probably still going to be weepy. You're going to probably still be emotional. You're going to feel very withdrawn. I know that today, that was another sign that my period was going to start. I got really withdrawn. I didn't want to be around the outside world. I really just wanted to stay home. I want to like clean and like get everything organized, except I want to take my laundry and burn it, because laundry, it's just like, it never ends, dude. And it's on summer break right now, and it's like dark all this summer break, the laundry has not ended in my house. I'm like, am I ever gonna catch up on this? I think it's gonna be here when I actually have outside winter. So I basically just wanted to stay home today, and that was the first sign that my period was about to start. I don't really care about the outside world, and like I said, things start to get prioritized. Things that were an extremely big deal during my luteal phase, they're not anymore. It's kind of like things are like, hey, you know that thing you were worried about? Now do you see how big of a deal it wasn't? It's not that big of a deal. I remember like yesterday was a really, really bad day for me. Oh my God, you guys. I was in a full-fledged luteal phase. I was in PMS mode. My son had a prescription that was sitting at the pharmacy. My mind was like, gotta get there. And then this morning, like right before my period started, it was still doing it. Like I was like, I gotta get to the pharmacy. It's not that big of a deal. And then I started my period, and I realized that it's gonna be there for a while. It's not that big of a deal. He's doing okay. It's not like a detrimental prescription that he has to have. It's not like a life and death situation. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But that's what happens. You just start to feel the snow starting to come down. You start to kind of level out. You're starting to feel very quiet. You're trying to like collect your thoughts. And like I said, not all the time. And I know this for experience. Sometimes in the very beginning, you still have your PMS symptoms. You will still have anxiety. You will still have trouble sleeping. And now, you not only got that, but you're also dealing with the menstrual physical symptoms of cramps, migraines, headaches, mood swings, and things like that. And it comes with it in the first and second day. PMS isn't just going to automatically pack its bags, zip it up, and see you next month. It's slowly packing her bag. She's taking forever in packing her bag, and then she's like slowly zipping it. And she's going, are you sure there's nothing I missed? Are you sure? I mean, like, what about that prescription though? Do you really need it? And the menstrual cycle's like, can you just go away? Like, it's not that big of a deal. That's what it does. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything that I missed. So we went over the eating, and the other thing I can't stress enough, drink water during this phase. Blood is mostly water, and you lose your blood, which equals you're losing your water intake. So if you don't keep up on your water intake when you're in this phase, you will be prone to headaches, anxiety. It can make your fatigue worse. Your period will be heavier. It'll be really gross period. Disgusting. It'll make your cramps worse. So, water. I can't stress that enough. So, I had to find out that the hard way, and I've still been learning about that. So, that's been fun. Anyway, so that is it. That is it for this video about the menstrual phase. The next video will be the follicle phase, which is going to be spring. And I probably will do that video when I'm in that phase. I'm not going to do it right now because I'm just in the beginning of my menstrual cycle. So I'm not in that mindset yet. But anyways, I'm glad to be back on this channel, and I'm glad to continue to make videos on it and to talk about women's reproductive health. So